Okay, besides the microphone on the left, notice the microphone and camera icons. To share your camera, click the icon. The icon left of the camera is the raise hand icon. If a student wants to say something, they raise their hand. It appears next to their name. I can then let them speak, like Dr. Mahmoud. You click on it to turn on the camera. The icon left of the camera is the raise hand icon. The raise hand icon is for students to alert me during a lecture. When a student raises their hand, what happens? It appears next to the student's name, indicating who raised their hand. I can assign them as a presenter to use the microphone, like Dr. Mahmoud. Dr. Mahmoud raised his hand, indicating he needs something. This alerts me as the instructor. I can assign him as a presenter to use the microphone if he has a question. He raised his hand, so it appears on the right side of the student's name. So I know that this student is the one who raised their hand. I can assign them as presenter if they want to use the mic, like Dr. Mahmoud. Dr. Mahmoud raised his hand. So what happened? It shows Dr. Mahmoud raised his hand and needs something, alerting me as the instructor. Now, I can assign him as presenter so he can use the mic if he has a question. He raised his hand. So after Dr. Mahmoud finishes, I will switch him back to participant status and he will remove the raise hand icon so there won't be issues. Also, among the things, it appeared that Dr. Mahmoud raised his hand and needs something specific, so this alerts me as the instructor in the lecture. Now in this case, I can come here and assign him as a presenter so he can use the microphone if he has a question. Now, after Dr. Mahmoud finishes his part, I will switch him back to participant status and he will also remove the raise hand icon so there won't be any issues. Also, among the things available in the virtual classroom, as you can see, the icons on the left include the chat. This is the chat where you send me your messages. You will notice that there is a word everyone at the top. If I click on this arrow, you will find that there is. Now that Dr. Mahmoud has finished his part, I am sending him back to teach as a participant. And he also removed the raise hand sign, and there is no problem with the matter anymore. Okay, among other things. The things in the virtual classroom are the icons. On the left, this is the chat where you send me your messages. Notice the word everyone. Clicking the arrow shows there is. Some messages are coordinator specific and might not appear to you. However, everyone shows messages visible to all. Clicking everyone, these are visible to all. It shows 55 attendees, including participants, coordinators, presenters. Clicking it shows 56 attendees. In the chat, some messages are specific to coordinators and might not appear to you. Everyone shows messages visible to all. Clicking everyone makes all messages visible. These are the messages you all can see. Here are the attendees. It says 55 attendees, including participants, coordinators, or presenters. Clicking it shows 56 attendees. You will see the coordinator count and participant count, 53 participants and 2 coordinators. It shows the status of someone joining. The total number of attendees is shown with 2 coordinators and 53 participants. It indicates who is joining, like Dr. Rashidin, who is currently joining and has successfully joined. As a coordinator, I can manage. These are all the attendees, and you notice that here is the coordinator and here is the number of coordinators. Here is the number and here is the participant, and this is the number of participants, which is 53, and this is the number of coordinators too. Here is the situation, meaning he says, by God, there is a joining taking place now. Joining also shows me who is joining now. Dr. Rashidin is now joining, and she has successfully joined. That's regarding this part. Now, as I mentioned, from here, if I'm a coordinator, I can control what we can do. If I'm a coordinator, I can assign a presenter, coordinator, commenter, or remove from the session. I can give these features to the participant. The participant selected is Dr. Bilay. I can even assign him as a commenter. The commenter is someone who, when given access, can have a screen pop up where they can write any text, like a translation. I can have a commenter, give them the access to write, and this text will appear for everyone. Those who need to see it in Arabic will see it in Arabic. The commentator can write text on a screen. If the conference is in Arabic, we write text in Arabic for English speakers. A commentator writes, and the text appears for all. This focuses on written translation. Content sharing. If in English, we write text in Arabic for non-English speakers. A commentator writes, and the text appears for all. This focuses on written translation. Content sharing and my settings. Opening my settings reveals audio and video settings, etc. And regarding the translation part, it's more about written translation, meaning it's something we call written translation. So this is regarding the part you see here. You will also notice that I have something called content sharing. All right. And I have something called my settings. I have content sharing and I have my settings. If we look at my settings, if we open this section, you will notice that there are a set of settings, including audio and video settings. And of course, I can adjust my audio level from here, all right? And I have the announcement settings. What do the announcement settings mean? You all saw a little while ago that, for example, Dr. Shireen is joining. So what happens? A message appears here saying that Dr. Shireen is joining. Okay, when someone is leaving, a message appears here saying leaving. And also what happens? A sound might come up. If Dr. Mahmoud raises his hand, I might not see it. When I hear a sound, I check. These settings alert me. In announcements, many options exist. If someone joins or leaves, what should I do? Alert with audio, or from the microphone, or the browser? I prefer not using audio announcements because students frequently join and leave. The sound is constantly on. Where do I get it from? From the settings here, I go to the announcement settings. Here in the announcements, there are many options. It asks me, if someone joins or leaves the session, what should I do? Should I alert you with an audio announcement, or should I get an announcement from the microphone or an announcement from the browser? Skip audio alerts. Whenever a student enters or exits, the sound is always active. Better to skip audio alerts. About alerts for students joining or exiting. Make it a chat browser message, just a text message. Assume it notifies me of a chat message. No. Skip audio alerts. Make it a program message. Consider audio alert if someone raises hand. Let's assume it notifies me of a chat message. Do we need an audio alert every time? No. Let's stick to written notifications from the program. I'll see the message and check the chat without issues. If someone raises their hand, an audio alert might be useful, like when Dr. Mahmoud did. If you raise your hand now, I'll get an alert because it's set up. Without it, I won't hear anything. Dr. Sultan and Dr. Noura are raising their hands, but there's no sound. So, when should we have audio alerts? I need to adjust the settings to enable them. So any colleague raising their hand triggers a sound. That's the purpose of the announcement settings. I need to adjust them to stay informed. I should set it up. If you raise your hand, there will be an audio announcement. I specified an audio announcement. If I turn off the audio announcement and someone just raises their hand, I won't hear any sound. Dr. Sultan and Dr. Noura raised their hands, but I got no sound. When should we have it? Any colleague raising their hand triggers the sound. That's the idea. I adjust settings to track the lecture. I control settings to determine sound alerts. It's better to keep hand raising sound. Joining and leaving alerts create noise. There's no audio notification sound coming through. When to have it. How to enable sound. Go to the announcement settings, scroll down, and set to audio notification. Any colleague who raises their hand now will trigger the sound for me. That's the idea. I need to keep track. In the lecture, I control these settings. Manage sound alerts. Keep hand raising sound. Joining, leaving sounds create noise. That's regarding the announcement settings. In the lecture, while I'm in it, I need to be able to control all these settings. I need to manage what alerts me with sound and what doesn't. Of course, it's best to keep only the hand raising notification with sound, because if we have audio notifications for joining and leaving the lecture, it would create a lot of noise. It would create a lot of disturbance. That's regarding the announcement settings. And as for